And welcome to round whatever it is for the Super 2 V8 series. And we are away and racing. It's a great start from the front row. My voice is coming up as delayed cast in my ears. But Jenkos has just sort of rubbed off onto, who was that, Shipley, I think, on the outside. As they run down through turn 3, turning up to the hairpin. It's all clean so far. Get my car off the grid. Seems to be all clean so far. They've all had a clean run through that hairpin. We've got Jenkos leads the field with Shipley and Hughes in third, Sharp fourth, Henare fifth, followed by Tony DeLuca with Fazari, Belton, Cosmoricus, Parks going, Wells and Gannon taking up the rear. Coming around to start the second lap, and they're very close up into this battle for second, shall I say. Hughes is all over the back of Cooper Shipley. So we're going to watch what happens with these guys here. He's just tucked in under the wing, trying to get a slipstream down into the hairpin. Hughes just biding his time, getting very close on the run-in. This has brought Sharp into the battle as well, and now he's stuck up under the back wing of the Batmobile as they don't run down the back straight. Brody Sharp looked like he's running not much rear wing there. He's made very good ground on Hughes, who's lost the rear end. Managed to gather it up. What a great save, and there's no contact there, and Brody Sharp goes, thank you very much, I'll have that third position. And now Hughes is still vulnerable now to Henare coming up through the whoop-de-doo section, turn 1-2. That's sort of settled down now, and that's given Jenkos a clean set of heels. About a second and a half gap to Cooper Shipley. And Brody Sharp now can set off down the road and try and make way to those two leaders. Henare half a second behind Hughes. Sort of saw all that action happening up the front and didn't need any more encouragement to get into that battle. But, back further in the field we've got Fazari and Park coming up into the back section of this track. They come to the closest battle on track so far. Jim Park has gone off into turn 1, and that will give Fazari the position, the easiest position he's made in this race so far. Meanwhile, Hughes is now centred up the inside of Sharp, and Sharp actually gives the fence a bit of a whack on the exit of the hairpin, which is going to leave him vulnerable to Henare, and they're coming up side by side into the back section of this track. Who can outbrake each other? There's a lot of room given there, which is great to see. And they're still side by side now, coming around into the front straight, and Henare is going to have the better run and make that position stick. So that's up to fourth for Henare, and a bit of a nightmare lap for Brody Sharp, who's gone from third back down to fifth. Okay, sorry. My stream just dropped out, and I'm back. We've got Belton now half a second behind Cosmoricus back in the field here. Matt Belton in the only Nissan in the field. It's a shame not seeing more Nissans out there. It's obviously one of the better cars on the grid, if you ask me. Should be all Nissans and Mercs. But I like controversy. So there we have that. Jenkos sets the fastest lap of the race, a 53.2. And he's now shown a clean set of heels. That's 2 seconds gap to second place of Cooper Shipley. Hughes another 3 seconds behind him, with Hanari just about under that second. So if we were a bit later in the evening, they'd be getting some DRS down that front straight. Perhaps making the overtaking as easy as it is in the F1 field at Baku later this evening. But Sharp now has made up that ground that he lost earlier to Cooper Hanare, and he sits about half a second behind as they come up into the back section here. I've got to really learn the names of these corners, or at least the numbers of them. We can go through it actually next time we come around. But Sharp just losing out a little bit in that last section there. So we've got turn 1, turn 2. We're going to call this turn 3, and we're going to call the hairpin turn 4. But Hughes has had a bit of a wobble there coming out of turn 3. And Hanare is going to try and get really close to him now and settle in behind that Batmobile, maybe get a bit of a slipstream up to turn 5, we're going to call it. Brody Sharp just sitting behind and watching this battle unfold with Hughes and Hanare. Hanare's got a good amount of straight line speed and closes right up on the back of this Batmobile themed, and Hughes have got a terrible exit out of that last corner, and Hanare's going to pull up beside him and have a look, but wisely decides to back out of it, settle in behind. Probably not always the best option to send it up the inside of a skinny little track like this, especially when you're only halfway through a bit of a sprint race. I'm sure Cooper's aware of how much pace he has. But, he's got to be careful, because behind him is a very racy looking Brody Sharp. He's now got a pretty good exit out of that final turn, but Hanare's just placed his car on the correct side of the track. So whether he can make it through and get a full car length in front before the braking distance, which he has, but Cooper almost gives him a tap on the way through. But he's gone wide, and that will leave the door open for Brody Sharp. He makes that position back up to 4. So he's been up and down the field like a yo-yo here. Brody Sharp has. But Hanare didn't lose too much time. He's still only 8/10 behind, and that's it's been a bit of an action-packed first 9 laps of this race. Things starting to settle down now as Cooper Hanare outbrakes himself into the hairpin, but not too much time lost there. Next we've got Cosmoricus now behind Scott Gannon, who has just outbraked himself into the hairpin, and that's given Cosmoricus a really good run in behind. Only half a second the gap there. Bill in the DJR Penske Mustang. Another controversial call, but one of my least favourite liveries on the real supercar grid. I think with the departure of Penske, they might have updated, but no, little yellow scuffing around the bottom of the car is all they could do. But Scott Gannon goes wide there, and that's given Bill Cosmoricus a really good run down into the hairpin. He might even just try for a bit of a send, which he does. He goes up through and gets it pulled up to the inside, gives racing room to Scott Gannon, who has to concede the position, and that will be his moment in P8 done for the time being. He'll try his best to get back at him, but up ahead I saw a little swap for the positions there between Sharp and Hanare, but I think that might have just been a bit of timing tower things that like to plague us commentators here. It makes it very hard to keep an eye on two things at once. But Hanare is still only about a second behind these two cars in front. Oh, as he gives it a big juice out of the hairpin, and that's lost him another second down the straight. So that sees Sharp, Hughes and Shipley just disappearing off into the distance. Scott Gannon now has made that time back up to Cosmaricus, but unfortunately has just given it a bit of a terrible run through the hairpin, which will see Cosmaricus disappear a little bit down the straight as well. Boys have just got to settle down a little bit here and trust your pace. I know it's hard following a car around any track really. You think you've got the pace and you get up behind them, and then all of a sudden you start to panic. But there's a car off the track here, that's Fazzari. Gannon and Cosmaricus and Belton actually go through behind in front of Fazzari. I don't know what happened to him. He must have gassed it up a bit too much behind or just out of that last corner. But now Belton has made his way up behind Gannon as well. Gannon looks like he's struggling a little bit with that hairpin. I don't know if he can get the car pulled up in time. He seems to have overshot it a couple of times the last few laps, so maybe a bit of tyre wear starting to creep in now from the boys. It's 13 laps through, and I know you can definitely flat spot your tyres as Gannon goes wide, Belton goes wide, and that has opened up the gap between these guys. Looking up the field with Brodie Sharp now, he's come back behind Josh Hughes. Only a couple of tenths in it, so this battle is starting to shape up with 6 laps to go in this race. Whoa, a bit of server lag or something happened there. A bit of evasive action needed from the Petronas ZB Commodore of Brodie Sharp. But it hasn't done too much of a detriment to his gap to this third place Batmobile. Just going to try and put the pressure on now. It's probably a tall order to catch Cooper Shipley, who's another 4 seconds in front. So he's got all the time in the world now as Brodie Sharp. He's just got to consolidate this gap, try and maybe even force a mistake from Josh Hughes, and slot into that third podium spot. So he gets a bit of a slipstream here. He's going to have a lot of overspeed coming into this turn 5, I think we decided we were going to call it. But Dan Jenkos now sets the fastest lap of the race as a 52.9. That's a very good lap. As who was that in front of? That must have been a lapped car of Zach Scowen that has binned it out of turn 6. That might even leave him vulnerable to Wells, but not really, because he's another 20 seconds behind him. Anyway, we'll focus back on this this battle here between Sharp and Hughes for the remainder of this. And Hughes has got a terrible exit out of the hairpin, and that'll just give Sharp an absolute invitation. So there you go, mate. You can have it. And Brodie covers off the inside and consolidates that pass. Josh is not going to let it go lightly. He's going to try and hang it around the outside, but it's a tough place to pass on the outside. You'd be a lot better drivers have tried it and failed. But that's another thing. So Sharp now has got himself into third place. Whether Hughes can fire back at him, that's something that remains to be seen. Hanare is now joining this fight as well to make it a 3-car battle, and he almost centre punches the back of Hughes into that hairpin. He's got a decent run out him too, so Hughes struggling with a bit of tyre wear, I believe, now at the later stages of this race. He's just dropped out that position to Sharp, and now he's becoming vulnerable to Cooper Hanare in the 333. He's only got a few more laps to hold him off though, so he's going to do his best. Yeah, a big slide from Hughes. He's definitely struggling with some rear tyre wear at the moment. Just struggling to get the traction down at any of these slow corners. See how he fares out of this one. Yeah, see another big slide. Hanare just needs to get a little bit closer to him now, coming down into this hairpin, and maybe use that against him and get better traction out of this turn 4. But he's going for the send. Oh, there's contact. That's sent Hughes almost around. But he's done the right thing and backed out of it and given that position back. Good driving there from the boys. That's what we want to see. Bit of an accidental lock up there that sent him into the side of the Batmobile. So he's still got two more laps now to get that 4th place, which is a handy jump up in the points for the standings in this championship. Look down the field. This is still our closest battle, so we're just going to stick with these guys for the last couple of laps. Naro doing his best to try and close that gap again. That was a couple of tenths closer a few laps ago, but maybe just a little bit impatient, trying to go for that send into the hairpin. Identifying that Hughes has that traction problem would be try and set yourself up into turn 5 is probably his best chance. Use the rest of the lap to get up under that wing and then get better traction out of the hairpin and really try and send it into this turn here that they're coming into. But that's something he'll be studying. He'll be sitting back and he's had a good. Whoa! He's just hit the inside curve and that's upset the car, and that's probably the race order decided, barring anything disastrous that's happening up ahead. We'll switch over to Dan Jankos, who's been absolutely untouchable this race in the number 20 Commodore ZB. Currently stands at an 8-second gap over 19 laps, which is it's very impressive to see. He's obviously been doing his practice during the week and getting that set up fine-tuned. But as he comes around the last corner, that'll be Dan Jankos to take out victory in race 1, take out maximum points. Great drive from Dan. He'll be wrapped with that. Cooper Shipley now coming in for 2nd. That's a very good result for Cooper. That's probably, I think that might even be one of his first podiums, if not the first, but we'll find that out in the results. Josh Hughes holds on for 3rd. Was struggling a bit with tyre wear and was under pressure from Hanare, which was good to see. It was a good little battle, but he comes across the line in 4th. Brody Sharp 5th, a disappointing race for Brody. He's usually one of the front runners, but he'll be looking to improve the next lap. Tony DeLuca 6th, Bill Kosmarikis 7th. Scott Gannon coming across the line in 8th. Bizarre Knight. Matt Belton in the Lonely Nissan comes across for the top 10 finish, and Jim Park has parked it in the pits. Scowen for 12th, and Angus Wells in the Lonely Mercedes comes across the line in 13th place. It was a good action-packed start. I got into the server just as the lights were going off, so didn't have time to set myself, and it was a bit of a schmozzle, but we got there. Cars doing donuts on the side, very good. Bit of contact there. Will be looked at after the race, but we'll be back with race 2 in just a moment. And welcome back to our viewers at home. We are here for race 2, round 5 it is, in the Super 2 series. Off pole position we got Matt Belton in the Nissan. Next to him on the front row is Alex Fazzari, Scott Gannon and Cosmaricus off, Gannon and Cosmaricus off row 2, DeLuca and Sharp row 3, Hughes and Shipley, Dan Jenkos in 9th position. Parks, Goins and Wells didn't actually make the 75% mark of the race, so they will start at the back. And here we go, we've got 20 seconds till lights out. We've got the lights up. With this reverse grid, it could be a frantic sprint. We've got all lights up. And we are away and racing. It's a better start from Fazzari, and he's going to try and hang it around the outside. But the Nissan just pokes it up the inside and makes that stick as Fazzari sticks in behind. Fazzari sticks in behind. There's a bit of pushing and shoving going on at the back of the field here. Sharp and Hughes and Shipley all together again as they were last race. Dan Jenkos, our race winner from race 1, is just cutting his way through the field now. There's a big we've got a car park happening here. We've got Fazzari, DeLuca, Jenkos, Gannon, and that will be a safety car. Park has joined him in the kitty litter, and that is a big accident. Belton has now gone off the road in the lead of the race. There's the safety car. There is no car on the grid. We will forget about that happening. Lucky there was a safety car, hey? I was like, yeah, the safety car's out early. I'm absolutely hopeless. So we've got the cars heading around the track now at a slower pace. I'm not sure if there's going to be a physical safety car or not. I guess we'll find out soon. But Belton leads. We've got Cosmaricus in behind. Sharp made it up to 3rd. He's had a cracking start to that race. Shipley up into 4th. Hughes up into 5th. Scowen has avoided all that, as well as Wells and DeLuca, and Jenkos I think got caught up in that, but the safety car is going to bring all these guys back into it. I think Anare was the worst affected from that incident of the hairpin. That was a proper car park there. They were taking their ticket, and valet was unavailable. So we do have a physical safety car on track, so we're all just lining up behind them now. You see all the cars catching up. And this might be the first safety car we've had in a while. So by the end of this, it might be a straight 16, maybe a 15 lap sprint to the end. Cooper Hanare actually got lapped in that whole incident, so he's going to be able to unlap that safety car and get back around to the back of the field, and that's great news for him. As going a lap down on these small tracks is really, it's not ideal, because you come up behind the leaders and you have to blue flag and you have to lose a lot of lap time in that sort of thing, and it's so hard to get that lap back. It's so hard to get that back, so yeah, so once you go a lap down, it's very hard to get that back. So he's going to be while he will be at the back of the pack, there's only 12 cars that he has to pass to get back up to where he was before. So I think he'll be okay, depending if he has any damage. We haven't actually looked on board. He seems to be okay. Looks like that steering column is straight. So interesting choice. We've got DeLuca on the super softs. We'll keep an eye on him. I think he should have a good little advantage here at the restart, and we will expect to see him making his way up the field. I think the super softs are about a second faster around this track, though he will be struggling after about, I think it was about 9 or 10 laps these super softs last for, and then they become a very big headache for the driver using them. So it's a bold move, Cotton, but we'll see if it pays off. Meanwhile, we're still in safety car conditions. We might see the safety car coming in this lap, actually, as all the cars are now caught up to the snake. And yep, there goes the safety car, so we are ready for a restart. We've got Matt Belton. Behind him, Cosmaricus and Sharp, Shipley, Hughes, Scow and DeLuca. All going to be vying for some easy spots on this, and then there he goes. So Belton's away, and what a great restart that is, and he's already opened up a gap of almost 9/10. Brody Sharp looking up behind the back of the DJR Falcon Mustang of Bill Cosmaricus, and there's a bit of sliding and tapping going on around the back of the pack, but everyone seems to have got through that restart okay. We've got Hughes and Shipley side by side almost. They are now. Oh, they're all into it. Oh my goodness, there's cars around. 1, 2, 3 cars involved at the back of that. Scow and Jankos has lost out there. He's ended up almost at the back of the field. It looks like Scowen is redressing that. Didn't quite catch what happened, but I assume from the redress that Scowen's taken it in there a bit too hot. Maybe we collected a couple of these cars on the way through. Not ideal, but there's no safety car, so it's race on. Belton our leader. Sharp in hot pursuit for 7/10 the gap. Bill Cosmaricus third, holding off Hughes in that Batmobile in fourth. Three little gaps down there. We've got Park and Hanare battling it out. Jimmy Park just sort of coming onto the back of Hanare. Cosmaricus has binned it into the hairpin, and that's a bit of a dodgy rejoin there. He's clipped Scott Gannon on the way back out on track, so I think the stewards might have something to say about that. There's a change for the lead with Brody Sharp going up the inside of Matt Belton at turn 5. And that will be a clear lead for Sharp. He's put out a bit of a gap as well. DeLuca up into 4th, Fazari 5th, and Ari 6th. Jim Park in 7th. He's having a good race here, Jim. He's avoided a lot of the on-field carnage, on-track carnage rather. Jenkos recovering. He's going to try and have a little go here at Cosmaricus. He's going to try and do a little switch back, get that power down early. Cosmaricus tries to block him off, but probably wise just to go straight on, get that momentum down the straight. Jenkos got a lot of pace. He's right up, pulls out of the slipstream, and now there is overlap now side by side. Can he get it pulled up in time? He does. Bit of a squiggle on the way in, but gets that move done. And that's Jenkos up into 8th position. Hanare's lost the position there to Jim Park, but they're battling side by side there through turn 1. Hanare with just a bit of an advantage there. Jim Park is only 4/10 away. A bit later on the brakes. gets it turned in. He's really one to watch out for, our Jim Park. He's a fan favourite around here. He's been racing with AK for a few seasons now, and pretty much loved by everyone. He's a wily old fox, but he's about to get passed by Jankos, our race 1 winner, who gives him a little bit of a hip and shoulder on the way through and says, look out mate, I'm here. But Jim doesn't put up too much of a fight, as I don't think his battle is with Jankos at this stage. He'll be trying to use Dan's pace here and get a bit of a tow back up to the back of Venaro. Bit of a squiggle there from Jim, and he's been passed from Cosmoricus down the back straight. Coming into the hairpin now. Jim just can't keep up at this stage of the race, so he's just waiting for those softs to come up. They take a few laps especially after a safety car, when they're pretty much dead cold again. So we'll check back in with him later, as Cooper Shipley is now trying to make a move on the Nissan of Matt Belton. He's all over the back. He's going to get a good tow down into turn 4, the hairpin, and he's just Belton's just parked it in the middle of the track. He's not quite sure which way to go. He's left the door open, and Shipley's going to just poke the nose up. Both of them give each other lots of room. You could have parked 2 more cars in between them, but that's good to see. It's better to have more room than less. And positions as you were. Matt Belton now in front of Shipley. Tony DeLuca on the Super Softs, making some headway in that regard. Still on the faster tyre. It'll be a couple more laps till they drop off. But Shipley goes all the way off the track there. Luckily gathered it up and got it back onto the track without spinning. Very easy to do once you drop a wheel off into the grass. And these two are right into it, and he's going to have a look at it. He's going to try up the inside again. Matt Belton is now going to have to concede that position unless he can get a better run out of the hairpin, which he does. And actually Shipley's made a proper meal of that exit, and now he's going to be vulnerable to the ZB of DeLuca behind. He's now looking for a way which side he wants to try and push that nose up into, but maybe just not enough straight line pace from that the ZB number 67 of DeLuca, because he lost a fair bit of time on that straight. And as Shipley's gathered up that momentum again, and he's back behind Belton, trying to find a way through. Excuse me. Looks up the inside again, so Belton really leaving the door open on the inside. It's a bit of an invitation to Shipley to say, yeah, you can go up the inside, but what I'm going to do is send it around the outside where I can get better momentum and drive onto this straight and pretty much have the speed on you by the time we get to this part of the track here, which I'm calling turn 5, but it's probably turn 6. I don't know, I like to just call there should be braking zones, not turns. So if you don't have to brake for a turn, it's not really a turn, is it? Just a not so straight. Anyway, that's what I mean, right. But Shipley's still trying to find a way past. We'll see what's going to happen down into the hairpin again. Will Matt Belton leave the door open? He does. Shipley not quite close enough to stick his nose into that door. Oh, Belton has belted the wall on the outside of turn 4, and that will give the second spot on the podium to Cooper Shipley. He'll be very disappointed with that. Was doing a great job, only needed to hold him out a few more laps to get that second position. Not quite over yet, a bit squirmy on the entry there from Shipley, right on the limit of braking. Back end just wanting to step out there a little bit. But he's now covered a nice little gap there, as Shipley. So that might be it for that battle. DeLuca still trying to push behind Belton, but I'd say those super softs are starting to get a very big sort of, what am I trying to say? They're fucked basically by about now. PG 13 warning. We're going to head down the field. We've got Jenkos and Fazzari swapping positions. I don't know what happened to Fazzari there. He must have come into contact with something there, but Jenkos up into 5th after being all the way down in 13th not that long ago. We've already had 2 DNFs here now as well for Scowen and Wells. I don't know what happened to them, but I'm pretty sure they were DNFs the last race as well. Stick with it, boys. You'll finish a race, I'm sure, very soon. Looking for gaps now. It's all sort of levelled out now with 4 laps to go. Closest on track is Belton, Shipley and DeLuca. But I'm sure if they keep this battling up, as Belton is now having a look down the inside of Shipley again, or is that no? That's a lapped car. My bad. Must be Jim. I don't know. For some reason the liveries are not showing up on my end in this race, so I've got next to no idea who any of these cars are, but doing my best. Jankos is on a charge. He's got three laps to make it up to 4th place, maybe even 3rd. He's got the Nissan within his sights. Tony DeLuca's super softs will be well and truly second hand by now. So Jankos has made up such a lot of ground there in that last lap. He's got the gap down to just about 7/10, maybe under that by the time we get to the hairpin. I think he's going to be able to have much better braking performance and traction. Expect him to really be up under this wing by the end of the straight here. DeLuca's got 3 laps to hold on. Jenkos, our race 1 winner. Had a bit of an unfortunate incident getting caught up in that car park on lap 1. He's going to have to bide his time here, try and get past. He's got 2 laps to make it up. He's got the overlap already. Little bit of contact maybe. Good respect shown and room given there out of turn 3. And this will give Jankos that position pretty easy. Should just be able to get this braking done. Turn in. A little bit of contact there, but that's what happens when 2 cars go around that hairpin. Now he's got 2 seconds to make up to the Nissan of Matt Belton. It's going to be a tall order, but if anyone can do it, it's Dan Jankos. He's proven he's got a lot of pace in that ZB. Pretty sure was he on pole? I missed qualifying. I come in just before race 1, so I'm not too sure who got pole position, but I'd say it would be Jankos based on his race pace. He's cut that gap down now to 1.5 seconds, so he's taken already 6/10, 7/10 out of that gap. Matt Belton will be looking in his mirrors now going, where's this checkered flag? I need to hold on to this 3rd place position. Jankos down to almost under 1 second with 1 lap to go. This could get exciting by the end. I think this coming into turn 5 on the next laps where he'll be thinking about maybe putting a defensive move on. Although Jankos didn't make much headway in that 3rd sector, so still 8/10 quicker on that last lap. And now he's well and truly got a sniff of that Nissan. He might even try it into the hairpin. I'd say he's trying to pick which side. Belton sort of covers it. Beautiful car positioning from Belton. Didn't go too defensive and still left himself enough width to get a decent exit out of that But Genkos will have the slipstream and will have one more say at what positions these two guys end up in as we get down to the final turn. Matt Belton, again, just great defence there. Doesn't have to go too shallow. And that's going to be enough. But Brody Sharp has crossed the line in first position. Oh! Wow. Genkos has got third, but there was a fair bit of rubbing and a bit of shenanigans going on there between Genkos and Belton around that final turn. There's a bit of rubbing on the outside. That's probably one for the stewards to look at again. They're going to be a bit busy tonight, especially after a bit of a chaotic race one, or race two, should I say. Everyone's crossed the line now. We've got Brody Sharp as our winner. 7-second gap to Cooper Shipley. Dan Genkos got third in the end. But we'll just wait and see what the stewards' decisions are on that one. Matt Belton fourth, he'll be spewing about all that. He was up there for a long time. One less lap in that race, he would have had it. Tony DeLuca fifth. Cooper, there's two Coopers in this race. Cooper Nare, sixth. Josh Hughes seventh. Cosmaricus eighth. Bazari ninth. Gannon 10th. Jim Park 11th. And Wells and Scowen, our two DNFs. Hope to see them back in race 3. Our next race will be a 42 lap race now, with the final lap counts being shortened, because there's been a few guys that have pulled out of this round due to various issues. You know, life gets in the way. We can't always make it on a Sunday afternoon, but that's fine. 12, 13 is plenty around a small track like this. So yeah, we will see everyone back for race 3. And welcome back to race 3. We've got 42 laps of this glorified go-kart track down in Tasmania. Got Brody Sharp and Cooper Shipley off the front row. Jenkos and Belton in race row 2. DeLuca and Anare on the third row. Fourth row? Third row. Next is Hughes and Cosmaricus, followed by Fazari and Park. Wells is at the back, and it looks like Zach Scowen isn't joining us for the third race on tonight's schedule. But that's okay. As I said before, 12 cars is plenty enough action around this little circuit. Tyre choices, we've got pretty much everyone running softs except for Cooper Shipley off the front row, so expect him to get a better start and probably lead this race for the first few laps. Strategy does come into it now. We've got 42 laps, one scheduled mandatory pit stop where you must change tyres, and for the length of the race you will be putting fuel in as well, so it'd be interesting to see what happens there. I'd say obviously Shipley's going to come in once those tyres go a bit dead, but now the lights are up. The lights are up and we're ready for race 3. And it's lights out and we're racing, and as expected Shipley gets, well, Brody Sharp's got an absolutely fantastic start, but he just doesn't have the grip there as a few cars go off in the background, nothing serious. Cooper Shipley leads this race with Brody Sharp looking very racy behind. Actually got a pretty good slipstream, is going to have a little crack into the hairpin going around the outside, but Shipley placing his car nicely, just getting it turned in, and expect that, whoa, he's really gassed it up there. He's not taken advantage of those super softs at all. Matt Belton might have had a bit of an excursion into the wall there. Angus Wells making up the rear too. I don't know what happened there. But Brody Sharp now. Brody Sharp now leads that race. Dan Jenkos in second. I am going to get absolutely roasted if I leave my car out on the grid one more time. Shipley in the third, DeLuca fourth, and RA fifth. Josh Hughes in the Batmobile coming in sixth. Bill Cosmaricus just behind him with Jim Park, Fazari, Matt Belton, and Wells bringing up the rear. Sharp leads this race with Dan Jenkos, his old sparring partner, coming in behind. These two guys are pretty sure up first and second in this championship fight, so it'll be good poetic justice to have these guys battling out for the rest of we've got 39 laps race, or 39 laps left of this race, should I say. Cooper Shipley just sitting in third with his super softs on. It's a big surprise, and that gamble hasn't really paid off for him. Probably wanting to be out in the lead by a couple of seconds to really make that strategy call work. As we've got a change for position now down the field with Hughes and DeLuca. Looks like Hughes has gone around Tony coming into that first sector. Bill Cosmaricus on the back. Everyone holding stations now. They've all sort of sorted themselves out after that always chaotic first lap in any category of any motor race ever. It's always this wheel-to-wheel racing. Your eyes are looking forward, trying to judge where the car in front's going to be, looking behind as well, trying to half defend, half attack at the same time. It's an absolute barrage on the sensors, doing first laps or just racing in general. But Dan Jenkos now has got a 6/10 gap now to the lead. just staying with Brodie Sharp. As I said before, it's a long race, this one, 42 laps. And taking bets now how quickly I run out of things to say once this once these guys sort of fall into their rhythms. Just having a look now, everyone's sort of evenly spaced, about a second, second and a half, 2 seconds here and there. The second closest battle on track now is Matt Belton, who's coming up behind Alex Fazzari now in that Falcon. Just has it sticking out wide, gives Belton a bit of an invitation. Really early on the brakes was Alex Fazzari, and that sort of took Belton by surprise, and he had to take a bit of an evasive action there and ended up on the grass. It's not ideal, but he's going to make his way back behind Fazzari in a fairly quick manner. It looks like Belton's got a bit of pace this race. Fazzari is all over the shop, and that's going to give a golden ticket to Belton. One of the easier passing manoeuvres he's had to make all day. Fazzari sticking with him. He's just gonna hang out there. He's seemed to be struggling a bit with the rear end of that Falcon. It was squirming around quite a bit in the traction zone. So whether that's setup related or maybe he did wear out his tyres in the first 6 laps, it's possible. Or maybe he's just a little bit excited. I know I get a bit excited. I don't know about you guys at home. So 600 horsepower makes me excited. Anyway, back to the front of the field, we've got Jenkos and Brodie Sharp holding steady in those positions. Jenkos making up a little bit of ground here in the third sector. Might perhaps be where he's strongest around this track. He certainly made up a couple of tenths there to Brodie Sharp, so 3 tenths the gap now. He's got Sharp looking in his mirrors. Just pulls out of the slipstream to show Brodie in the mirrors that hey mate, I'm here. Don't forget about me. If you feel like making a mistake, then be my guest. Is what Dan's probably thinking to himself now. But Brodie definitely he's got great drive out of these slow traction zones. So out of turn 4, he really pulled that 2 tenths gap out. But Brodie Sharp has gone long into the turn 5, and that has taken him off the track and Jankos into the lead. Sharp will be absolutely spewing with himself there. He was doing absolutely great the first 8 laps here, just holding that gap steady. And he's pretty much just given it away. Dan Jankos now in the lead by a second. Sharp will be a bit frustrated with himself there. It's not what you want. Giving up the lead of a race due to an error, and oh my, the errors are compounding now, as they do. It's like in cricket terms, 1 wicket brings 2. Same with motor racing, 1 mistake usually brings 2 or more. So Sharp's just got to calm himself down now, try and get back into the rhythm. But he knows he has. He's a very confident driver. This Brodie Sharp, I'm pretty sure he does some real-world driving. Certainly does go-karting. I'm not sure what other categories he's involved in. He's just got to use his wealth of experience here and just head down, bum up, and make that gap back up to Dan Jankos out in the lead. Cooper Shipley now has actually made up a lot of ground. Those super softs are starting to come good, I guess. I don't know. I would have thought they'd be dead by now, 9 laps in, but Cooper proving me wrong. If anything, he's surely only got a few more laps left in these guys, so we'll keep an eye on Cooper and see when he starts to look like he might want to make that first pit stop. I think I'm trying to remember how many laps we got out of a full tank around here, and whether he has made it to that golden number they call it, where you can pit the tyres, fill the car up to the brim, and make it home on one stop. So I think 32 laps. It sounds about right. He could probably pit now, fill up, chuck a set of softs on, and make it to the end. But we'll just follow along and see what happens there, as he is actually followed closely behind his namesake Cooper Hanare in the 333 Optus Mobile one. It's a Chaz Mostert livery. They're both backing up now. The Coopers have made a lot of ground on Brodie Sharp in second. I took my eye off the screen, and it seems that gap has narrowed a lot. So there's a bit of action coming up here. Cooper Shipley running the super soft, so we're just anticipating when the Lark is going to leave from them. We had a big slide on the exit. Of that hairpin there, which suggests that the rears are starting to scream a little bit. But also Hanare knows there's no point battling now, as Shipley will be coming into the pits early. He knows that. There's no way that he can go half race distance on a set of super softs. But you know, Shipley will prove me wrong and do something like that just to make me look silly. And again, I don't need much help in that department. Looking back through the field, Jim Park now, our fan favourite, has just passed Alex Bizzari, because Bizzari has binned it coming into turn 1. He's out on the kitty litter. Must have been, I just caught the end of that, and it looked like a bit of a compression lock, which has sent the arse end around and spinning like a dreidel into the fence. So that gives Jim Park position 9. Good to see Parky going well. He's also running the super softs, so we'll keep an eye out for when he makes his pit stop. Looking at lap times now, it looks like Shipley's starting to drop off. He was 3/10 slower than Brodie Sharp on that last lap. And Hanare starting to make a bit of headway, so Hanare maybe had enough of just looking at the back of this Coca-Cola ING ZB entry from Cooper Shipley, and knowing that his tyres are dying, he's going to not wait for the pit stop, maybe just give it the send and get that pass done. Because you don't want to be losing touch with the leaders too early into this race. Excuse me. Shipley hanging on. He's the car's looking pretty good. The body language of the car doesn't look like he's really struggling with the tyres too much. Just the lap times kind of reflect that a little bit now. So I'd say with every lap he's going to be losing a bit of time. But lap car of Angus Wells just gets out of the way. Probably didn't need to send it into the wall, but the desired effect was successful. He did get out of the way. But there's, you know, if you do see the leaders coming up behind you, a good way is to anticipate it. Don't leave it to the last minute when you've got a safe spot on track, just to pull off the racing line, come out of the throttle, let the guys go, and then come back out onto your racing line and complete your lap. You really don't lose that much time doing it that way, rather than leaving it till, you know, a hairpin to try and just go off the track and do that. So Wells is actually DNF here. That's his evening done and complete. Down to 10 cars on track, which is good. Everyone gets a top 10 finish from here. Always look on the bright side of life in Symmons. in life in general. Jimmy Park has now come into the pits for his scheduled pit stop. He's had enough of those super softs. So he's going to be strapping on a set of softs and going to the end, which means I anticipate that Shipley might not be far behind him unless he is trying to push to get another set of supers on. Because if he can make it to lap 21, which is only another 5 laps, that's half race distance, and he can go again with another set of supers. It's a brave move, but he's come this far. I want to see it. I want to see it happen. A bit of pace with low fuel and super softs on. Anything can happen here for Cooper Shipley. And RA has not let either of them out of his sight though. He's just sitting there smoking his pipe in form, watching all the action in front. Not making any unnecessary moves and not pushing unnecessarily hard. It's good race tactic here from an RA, to be honest. Not getting too close to Shipley to induce a battle, which, once you're in a battle, that's when your lap times start to really suffer. Like you can drop 1 or 2, 3, 4, however many seconds you want. If you get tied up in a battle. So there's always that option of just sitting back, keeping that gap at around, half a second, 6/10, letting the guy in front know that, we're not battling right now, we can work together, stay in this race for as long as we can and worry about that battling business in the last 10 laps. There's many ways you can look at a race, and that's one of them. But I expect Shipley to come in now. I'd be doing that. He's starting to lose touch with Brodie in front. He goes out again. He stays out again. I might think. One's got to think. I think he's going to go for the super soft strategy, which will be the only one in the race to do so. But he's still sitting third now, and his last lap was a 53.7 compared with the 53.8 of Brodie Sharp. So I tell you what, and a 53.6 from the leader. So those super softs seem to be holding up surprisingly well for Cooper Shipley. He's gone 18 laps on the bloody things now. But only time will tell. We'll go past the pit lane again here and see what he decides to do. I think if he goes around, so he's going to go half race distance and come in for another set. As Dan Jankos actually sets the fastest lap of the race of a 53.1. Cooper Shipley only 5/10 off him there in that last lap with the dead supers. So yeah, I think he's pulled out a pretty good strategy here. There'll be a lot of these drivers here that have started on the softs would be looking to put on Jankos. We've had a problem. He's gone straight on at the there's a big problem here for Jankos. He's gone back to the pits. This might be a retirement. I think he might have blown his engine. He's gone. Our leader is out of this race. Oh my word. Well, that's huge in the championship standings. He was out with a very good lead, and oh mate, I feel for you. I'm going to say it, only the best drivers blow up their engines. I've seen it happen out there. I've seen it happen in the very last corner of a championship deciding round. That's absolutely devastating for poor Jankos, but that's handed Brodie Sharp the lead. Shipley in second now, and RA third, and he's really starting to put some pressure on young Shipley in front. Tell you what, they might be looking at a bit of an overcut here as well. Once Shipley comes in, and RA can maybe go 2 or 3 laps, try and put in those better times as Shipley's tyres come up to temperature, and then duck in for a quick set of super softs, quick dash of fuel, and hope to come out in front of him on track. That's how the overcut works. But Hanare has just made a meal of it there into turn one. He's gone wide and he's dropped a few seconds on Shipley. And he's just lost the position as well to Hughes. So Hughes goes up into third. Belton DeLuca falling down the field. He's also had a bit of a mischief there. But Hanare, any thoughts that he had of an overcut on Shipley and now dashed? It's a shame, but it's still a long way to go in this race. He's got third position in front of him and within sight. So all's not lost. Shipley's still not coming into the pit, so there goes half race distance. He's going to try and push these super softs as long as he can take them. And still faster than the leader. I'm gobsmacked. I thought 22 lap old super softs, he'd be struggling in the braking sections, he'd be struggling in any sort of traction zone. But he seems to be just driving this car to the limit absolutely perfectly. Yeah, no wheel spin at all. Great car control here. It's probably about time Shipley takes that learner's plate off the ZB Commodore. He's proven himself. If I was the driving instructor, I'd be saying, here you go, mate, here's your green peas or red peas or whatever they give the kids these days. Here's your green peas, mate. Go and get loose on the world. As he has not come into the pits again. Cosmarikis now has made a move on Tony DeLuca. Either that or DeLuca's made a mistake. But Cosmarikis now up to 4. Good result for Cosmarikis. He's one of those guys. He's an absolute battler. He's in there. He's comes in every week and gives his best. And up to 4th position, he'd be absolutely delighted with that. He's got Tony DeLuca behind him at about a second and a half. Cooper Hanare has made his pit stop and he's come out with the super soft. So this will be interesting to see what happens when these lead few cars come in. We'll see what happens when they come out, because Hanare's he's got clear air in front of him. Wise idea from Cooper Shipley now to come into the pits. Don't want to leave it too long, otherwise, even though Hanare did drop a few seconds in that those couple of in laps, he still might have made room on those brand new super softs and made some ground on Cooper Shipley. But Hughes in the pits as well. Shipley coming out of the pits and Hanare is nowhere near him. So that's as you were as Hanare's. He's gone off the track at turn 5. Poor bugger, he's making it hard on himself. Who else has made their pit stop? So Brodie Sharp still going on those set. Shipley's come out in second with the softs on, which is interesting because he did 23 laps on the super softs. You'd think he'd go the 19 laps on super softs as well. So this is a very interesting decision from Shipley. I'm not sure if he knows that you don't have to use both compounds of tyre. That's a head scratcher there. He's gone. Yep. Anyway, each to his own. We'll see what happens there. Hughes has come out behind him on a set of supers, so he's got 3.5 second gap to make up, and I suspect he will since he's got those supers on. But it's only him and Hanare that'll come out with the supers on. I think everyone else still yet to make their pit stop. Brodie Sharp goes around again, so he's going to be pushing to the end and a bit of a splash and dash to get those supers to the end. I suppose the less time you have on the super softs, the better. I think they can be quite dangerous once they're all chewed up and non-responsive to input. And you can easily lock them up and end up in that kitty litter at the end of the front straight there, where poor old Dan Jankos did. He's back out on track and he's circulating around, which is good news because there'll still be good points available for 10th. Whether he can make up the 41 seconds to 9th place remains to be seen, but there's still what, 15 laps to go. Anything can happen. It is Super 2 after all. These guys are capable of some of the best racing you've ever seen, and also some of the most entertaining. So you guys thought I was going to say the worst racing, but that's not true at all. Now I'm just talking shit because there's not much happening. Let's go and see Tony DeLuca is coming up on the back of Bill Kosmarikis. He's both on the soft tyre. Not sure if Bill's come in for his stop yet. Actually, I don't think either of these guys are coming for their stop yet. Jim Park goes straight through the secondary layout of this track there. I don't know what happened to him. Maybe just getting out of the way of the lap cars. But as I said before, you still got a race to run. You don't have to jump out of the way of any cars coming up behind you. Just do it in a safe and predictable manner, and everyone is happy. Otherwise, once you do go a lap down, I think I was explaining in one of the races, you just end up, it's sort of a compounding interest problem where you're constantly being lapped. So you're constantly slowing down or jumping off the track, and it just makes the problem worse. Whereas if you can really learn how to let those blue flags through in the most efficient manner, really you can make up a lot of ground on the other guys around you on track, because they're going to be getting passed by the same cars also. So if you can minimise that time spent off track and doing wild manoeuvres just to get out of the way of the cars, it's always beneficial. Go to Alex Fazzari. We haven't seen him a lot today. He's rocking his new livery on the Falcon there, which looks nice. He's got himself out of the Mustang. He's trying his hand in the other, I think, superior V8 supercar as the Falcon FGX. So let's hope he's acclimatising well with that car choice. He's been Kosmarikis now is in the pit, so that promotes Fazzari up to 6th. One of the regulars in AK now, Alex Fazzari. You'll see him just about without fail in all these Super 2 racing. And obviously the more experience and more track time these guys get, they're all one season, one good race, one bit of confidence away from stepping it up to the main grid. And they're all super capable. So he's got Brody Sharp, the leader, coming up behind. Brody just drops off into the pit, so we've got our leader into the pits now. I assume he's going to come out on super softs, but when I made that assumption earlier, I was proved wrong. So our second place car, Cooper Shipley, is actually coming around the last corner, so this could actually be quite close. Sharp moving, Shipley coming through into the first turn, so Shipley can see Sharp coming out of the pits there, and Sharp on those super softs though, he's going to have one lap for them to get up to temperature, and I suspect that might be the last Cooper sees of our leader. So he's only got 9 laps to navigate towards the end. But Josh Hughes putting pressure under Cooper Shipley on those super softs. He's made up that ground. So he's probably got a few laps now to get that move done, and then he can focus on more of a defensive strategy for the rest of this race. Really got better traction. You can see there he's got the super softs working in this Batmobile. Coming into turn 1 over the riser. It's such a fun little stretch of track there. You can really find time on the modulating the brake sort of as you go over that kink, as you sort of lose a bit of downforce, a bit of gravity as your car sort of dips off down into the run into turn 2. So it's good fun when you get that right, and the complete opposite when you get it wrong. There's a lot of grass and there's a lot of fences out there that you might end up in. Josh Hughes with the slipstream now and coming right up to the back. So both clatter over the curb, and they've both gone wide. Cooper Shipley suffering a bit of lag spike there, and that's spooked Josh Hughes. But let's play on. And Hughes is going to try and set himself up here to get a great exit, which he has. He's going to have the run here now, coming down into the hairpin, choosing which side of the road he wants. But Cooper Shipley's gone defensive and taking up that middle section of the track. They both brake at the exact same time. Hughes is going to try and hang it out around the outside, and we know that you can get a bit more traction out there, and he has. He's going to stick with him. He's not going to have the direct slipstream, but maybe a bit of side draft and the inside for this weird almost straight. If he can get across and cover him off down into this turn 5, I think he's got the move done. Can he pull it up and stay on the track here? He does perfectly, and that is Josh Hughes up in the second spot with an absolute textbook manoeuvre, which was really set up here last lap. And Cooper's given him a bit of a whack for his troubles. He says, "Mate, I don't enjoy being overtaken in an exact textbook manner, so I'm going to give you a little punt." And Shipley is doing the right thing and waiting for Josh Hughes to come back and take that position, which is the right thing. Cooper got his braking markers wrong, and you might expect, he's going to just sidestep him here. Well done, Cooper, thank you for that. And as you were, boys, battle stations. Brody Sharp with a 12-second lead now. So that little turnaround was not ideal for Josh Hughes and his charge for perhaps a race win. But if you asked him coming into this round, would you take second, I'm sure he would have said yes, I'll take that. Cooper Shipley now just needs to hang on to the back of Josh Hughes. He's only got 7 more laps to go, so we've seen that those super softs, they do last a bit longer than I anticipated. So he's got a bit of a tall order to accomplish if he's going to get that second place position back off Josh Hughes. But I think his problems are more so starting to line up behind him with Cooper Hernare on the fresh set of super softs. Has made up a lot of ground on that last few laps, especially with a bit of a tangle up there with Josh. That's brought Hernare right back into this race. And he's going to be putting Shipley under all sorts of pressure here now for the remainder of this race. And again, Shipley just a little bit tardy through that first section, maybe taking it a bit too wide, and it sort of compromises his exit and therefore his speed down into this overtaking zone into turn 4. And you can just see there Hernare with the super softs able to brake a lot later and make up that gap. Poor old Cooper's going to be driving in his mirrors now, thinking he had second place stitched up. But maybe he's probably thinking, maybe I should have gone for the super seat off Azari. That's some wild blue flag techniques. darting across the track, almost taking out third place. But Dan Jankos setting the fastest lap of the race with a 52.7. Absolutely flying is Jankos. He's got the new set of super softs on. Has made up, about 7 or 8 seconds to Jim Park in ninth, but I think Jimmy's going to hang on to that position after the unfortunate. I assume he's blown up his engine. Was Dan Jankos in that incident where he went and parked himself at the exit of turn 4, or the kitty litter on the outside of turn 4 rather. But he's just he's sticking in it, doing his best to claim those points. Because it's a long championship. We've got 10 rounds and at least 2 races per round, and they're all worth points. So by the end of the year, every little point counts, because you never know when your adversary might have a similar incident and end up in the kitty litter. It may be the next round or the last round. Would be dramatic. But Hanare now really making way, and Cooper Shipley having a big slide on the outside, and this is going to actually make Hanare, it's just going to elevate him straight up into third. That was an absolutely horrible exit from Cooper Shipley, and there's nothing he can do with Hanare just placing his car on the outside. But Shipley's not going to give it up without a fight. He's going to try and stick it around the outside, but as I said before, not silly, but it's unlikely you can stick it around the outside there. Just the way the ratio, the radius of the turn is, having that inside line is beneficial. So Hanare up into third now. He's got those super softs on. There's only 3 laps to go. Cooper Shipley giving it a very late braking manoeuvre there, as Josh Hughes has gone off the track and he's parked it at the hairpin. He's thrown away that podium. Poor old Josh, he had that stitched up as well. So, and Shipley now has gone back past Hanare. There's a lot of action happening now with 2 laps to go. Hanare still probably has the better tyre, so this battle is certainly not over with 2 laps to go. Just wants to set himself up, have another crack into perhaps the hairpin or turn 5, what I'm calling turn 5. You don't want to be Cooper. So okay, not too much damage done, but he almost ended up in that kitty litter, and it's hard to get out of that once you're in it. But that's a weight off Shipley's shoulders there. But he's gone and put himself on the grass a little bit as well, so this is certainly not over. Hanare got a great run through that third sector, and he's right up under the wing now, coming through turn 1 and 2. Certainly getting a lot of slipstream now. A bit of a slide on the exit, so that's not going to help his cause. But if he can stay close enough and not make any contact into this hairpin, he'll be certainly liking his chances at the end of turn 5. So hard to get the power down in these big high horsepower V8s with absolutely no downforce, and obviously no traction control, ABS. The real driver's cars, these things, difficult to drive. If you have your boat license, it might make it easier. You might be used to that kind of thing. Is this the final lap? The final lap now, and Brody Sharp's got himself a massive lead, so he's going to win this race, barring some sort of disaster. We're going to stay riding with these two, the Coopers, who are going to be battling it out for second place. He's probably only got one more chance. He really needs to set up this this exit, but I think that's just a bit too tall a task here with half a second the gap. So we'll switch to Brody Sharp going across the line, and he does it in style, nice and slow. Well done to Brody. He'll be thanking Jenkos for gifting him that position so easily. Cooper Shipley comes across the line now in second. Very good race from him. Went the alternative strategy, and that's paid off for him. Cooper Hanare in third. Great race from him. Josh Hughes. He'd be disappointed with that. He had, I think he had second place just about stitched up there. Found himself in the wall at turn 4, which pretty much dashed his hopes of any sort of podium finish. Tony DeLuca crosses the line in 5th. Bill Kosmarika 6th. Alex Vazzari 7th. Matt Belton in the lonely Nissan 8th. Jimmy Park comes across for a top 10 finish in 9th, and Jenkos with the recovery drive to 10th after what we think was an engine blown. We'll get confirmation of that after the race, I'm sure. That was an exciting little race, even though the sort of attrition got to a few drivers. We started with maybe 14 and ended with 10, but that's kind of the way it goes. Things happen in races, and you do get DNFs from time to time. But you want to finish the race. You want to do your best to get back out there on track and get as many points as you can for this championship. Brody Sharp has got the most points out of this race. Shipley and Hanare round out your podium. And that concludes our broadcast for tonight. It's been fun hanging out with y'all. I don't have time to check the chat because I struggle to do one thing at a time, let alone 2 or 3. Hats go off to those guys that can. But it's always fun up here in the commentary box. Get a good view of the race, if anything. But yeah, I've been Chris Munro. This has been AK Racing Super 2. And join us next week for, we've got Wednesday night, we've got the Wednesday Cup. Which track are we doing this week? We're going to Sandown this week in the Toyota 86s. So I think there might be a link in the chat there to join our Discord if you haven't already. And from there you can find sign-up details to get involved in that. That's a fun little series we do on Wednesday nights. Nothing too serious. And then next after that will be the V8 Supercars coming to you from our international round, the Brazilian track Interlagos, which is going to be good for a change to get out there on a big GP track. The Big Thundering V8, it's quite a fun track, so it's there's going to be lots of battles there, and I am looking forward to that. But that's all the time we've got for tonight. As I said, I've been Chris Munro, and this has been AK Racing, and we'll see you next time. Thank you very much.